Hello, server goers. I'm your friendly neighborhood eagle. If you know me, you know that I have often made it a goal of mine to chronicle the history of our fine server, be it through books in the library, videos like the World 2 documentary, and whatnot. You know, some people have called me a sort of server historian. In fact, here's a list of the people who have called me that. I pretend I matter to fall asleep at night. With further ado, this is Eagle's low-budget history of the server. In the beginning, there was not much to do at all. All of the CE people did not do much. They were sad and just looked at pictures of Naked Lady, and played Team Fortress 2. But then CErver, our sword and lavier, made the server on January 15th, 2011. The first town was Spawn, but it was spelled with an AH, not the traditional spelling. It was pretty cool. Then a young man named Unfair deviated from the Spawn town to create Rome. Server Rome, not real Rome. That would be silly if he founded the real Rome. Don't be ridiculous. Unfair dressed and acted like the Caesar. So much, in fact, that current owner Game Sultan first thought he was a gay. So Rome was founded, and some asshole lit it on fire. I wasn't around for that, so here's a picture of Brad with a glove. A bunch of towns were founded at the start of World 1, like Tropic Moon, Tab, Anemos, and Napoli. Jeez, I'm trying to name towns, the audience keeps laughing. Napoli, come on. Everything was good in early World 1, except for how the server had the bedtime at 8 o'clock and had to stop playing then. Craig, come on, it's too late, I don't want to go to bed. Cred. Around February of 2011, Cred stopped hosting the server so he could volunteer as a full-time professional cool man. After this, a man named Who Is Scorpion, that's a name, not a question, took over, and he was a right asshole. He really only watched over the server for about a month, and when he got bored, he just nuked the shit out of the landscapes. After Scorpion was done with using the server as a sex slave, the ownership was passed on to Shife. Shife didn't rule for very long, but his rule is usually remembered pretty fondly. It was then that Unfair and his friend FF7 Perfection got Minecraft married and started up New Rome. They needed a new Rome because Kilmay made Old Rome his house. Come on, Kilmay, jeez. Fair and FF also had an underground storage system called Cave Edis. They had infinity of everything, and it was pretty swell. Everyone secretly wanted to use Cave Edis because the thought of having infinity of everything, well, it made their butts feel all goofy. Anyway, New Rome became a kick-ass town, and you weren't cool unless you lived in New Rome at one point or another. I'm sure Shife's rule had more stuff that happened during it, but New Rome is all that really matters. Meanwhile, on the whole other side of the current events, Cred had made a new server, and a lot of people went there, so Shife shut down the server that we all know and love and may or may not touch ourselves to pictures of every night. But a little while later, Unfair was able to convince Shife to let him run the server himself. In fact, here is a primary source of how this went down. Shife, come on, let me run the server. Shife, come on. Okay. So now Fair ruled the server, and he formed his moderator staff of merry men to fight the bad guys. There was Game Sultan, Anonymous Pepper, FF7 Perfection, Kilmay, Too Legit for Everyone, and Savage Royalty. And it was the first week of June 2011 that a certain young lad first graced the server with his divine presence, his unmatched wit, and his admirable abdominal muscles. Yours truly. Actually, I was a goddamn retard who asked to have things fun for myself on my first night. But that wasn't a problem for Anonymous Pepper. That dude's all about the spawning and the penis, so not more than a couple nights later, what became the first real World 1 controversy went down. One of the moderators, Too Legit for Everyone, had a large sugarcane farm, which one day FF7 and Savage Royalty decided to use. But when Too Legit found out, he left them an angry sign telling them not to touch his crops or else he would do unchristian things to their neck holes. So that night, all of the really, basically everyone on the server, all raided Too Legit's sugarcane farm, and they blew that shit up. And then Too Legit was banned for being a psychopathic cuckoo for sugarcane butt monster. Meanwhile, I was starting to get fed up with some of the moderators striking me with lightning, stealing my lunch money, and calling me profane names like dork and poop butt. It was then that I decided to start up the City in the Sky of Flockland and the organization that would be based there, the Flock. Thank Christ on a shish kebab that my good friend Shepherd Saga convinced me to change the town name to Zephyr and the group to the Fleet. The town and the organization were designed to keep them hoity-toity moderator type folk out and away from us regular fellas. Not too long after the Too Legit fiasco, somebody posted our IP to 4chan, and the server was constantly flooded by mean people. In an effort to thwart nighttime raiders, Unfair saw it necessary to fill in Too Legit's spot with a new nighttime moderator. And I, often playing in the early hours of the morning, was the person chosen for the job. This was effectively the worst possible thing that anyone could have done for the server, giving a solipsistic, argumentative megalomaniac even a whiff of the slightest form of power would later come back to bite everyone in the tits.